Now then, in this short video we're going to take a look at 3 accessories that we've developed specifically for the Greenlandic sleeping bags. The Greenlandic bags are semi-rectangular bags or relaxed mummy bags. They've got a much wider footpiece and they're wider than a traditional mummy bag. Specifically from the waist down, it's the lower half that's been widened out, semi-rectangular in shape. And that's been done for people that want a little bit more space in a sleeping bag, a little bit more wriggle room, and especially for side sleepers. If you're going over onto your side, you need a little bit more space to bend your knee. So the Greenlandics have got this a little bit more width from the waist down. Now, because of this, they require their own specialist accessories to fit inside them or over them to work with them. I've got 3 accessories here that are specifically Greenlandic shape. The first of all is the filler bag. Now this is a Greenlandic 300. It's rated at 0 degrees centigrade, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Now the first thing we've designed is the filler bag. That goes inside it. I'll just pull it out the top there. I'll get it out for you to see closer. It's a down-filled liner. It's called the filler bag. It's filled with a very high quality down, and it's super soft fabric. And the idea is that inside the sleeping bag it fills in those spaces of air where cold convection currents can start to move around you. And so the filler bag fills up those pockets. It adds an additional warmth of 10 degrees centigrade, so it lifts the sleeping bag by 10 degrees further. So the Greenlandic 300, it's rated at 0 degrees centigrade. Use a filler, use a Greenlandic filler, which is the same shape, a wide footpiece. Use that inside and you've elevated the performance to -10. So it makes a significant increase in the warmth and it really pushes this bag into winter use. So first of all, the first of the lot is the Greenlandic filler bag, and it can be used as a sleep system with the Greenlandic bag. As a liner inside, bolts the warmth by 10 degrees centigrade. So the first thing to see is the filler, the Greenlandic filler. Let me just get the second one. The second item that we've shaped now for the Greenlandic bags is our Snowline Bivvy bag. The Snowline Bivvy bag is a really interesting piece of equipment, and again it can be used as a sleep system. We've redesigned it for the Greenlandic to make it semi-rectangular in shape, so the Greenlandic Snowline now fits over the Greenlandic sleeping bags. Now the Snowline is very interesting. It's actually an insulated bivvy bag. It's a waterproof outer fabric. It's a 2-layer laminate or membrane fabric. It's breathable and fully waterproof, and the seams are tapeable, so it's a fully waterproof and breathable bag to go over the Greenlandic. What's different about the Snowline is that it's also insulated. It's got Primaloft on the inside of it, and that boosts the warmth of your Greenlandic by 7 degrees centigrade. So again, it can be used not only as a waterproof system to proof your Greenlandic sleeping bag, but it also can be used to increase the warmth. So the Greenlandic 300 we have here, it's rated at 0 degrees. If you use a Greenlandic Snowline bivvy bag over the top, it elevates the warmth by another 7 degrees, so it goes down to -7. Really pushes it into really good winter use in the UK at least. So the Snowline is really a very nice piece of equipment, very useful. So now we have a Greenlandic Snowline bivvy bag to go around the shape of the Greenlandics. Okay, so that's the second new accessory to look at, and the third is the sleeping bag cover. This is just a standard one. This is my standard sleeping bag cover, but we've now made a Greenlandic sleeping bag cover. Well, what is it? I'll get this out and show you. It's made in a water-resistant fabric, ultra shell. On the inside you can see, if you just can pick it up, if the camera can pick it up, the outer has got that dark colour, the inner has got that whiter colour, so it's got a coating applied to it, sprayed on coating that makes it waterproof. Now, I call it water resistant because this is a very light fabric and we can't heat seam seal tape it. We can't tape the seams. But when you do that, you put it through hot rollers and the fabric would melt, or at least the coating on the back would be damaged. So you can't actually waterproof these seams. But this is a very clever piece of equipment, because it's made out of one entire piece of fabric on the top and a second entire piece of fabric on the base, and the seam is just running down the side. So that side seam is the only seam, one on each side there. And that, of course, is potentially an area where water could get in, but that's highly unlikely. Of course, you couldn't use this in torrential rain. Water would get in eventually. But the clever thing here is there is no stitch lines on this sleeping bag cover, so there is no entry point for water to get in there. So that fabric there is waterproof. Unlike a normal, that isn't the same with the sleeping bag fabric here. Because of the construction of a sleeping bag, there's a lot of stitch lines and stitch holes across that sleeping bag. And that's a point of entry. Doesn't matter what fabric you use, there is potential for water to eventually get through that hole. However, a sleeping bag cover doesn't have those stitch lines across it. It just has a side seam, and the side seam is not as vulnerable. If you imagine condensation, if you're under a tarp and there's a lot of condensation flapping, or in a tent and water is coming off the tent and bouncing onto the fabric, it's unlikely to cause trouble there because that is waterproof. It's going to run off you. It's got a DWR coating, so water would bead and run off you. So that's the sleeping bag cover, a really smart piece of equipment. The reason I really like it is it packs down tiny, and it's very, very light. So you've really added a layer of protective waterproofness to your sleeping bag. And what we've done for the Greenlandic is reshape it, make it semi-rectangular in shape. So we've got those three pieces of equipment to go with those Greenlandics. We've got the Greenlandic filler to go inside it and boost the warmth by a further 10 degrees centigrade. We've got the Greenlandic Snowline Bivvy as a waterproof shell for a bivvy bag to go over the top of it, and again it increases the warmth by 7 degrees centigrade. So that again is a sleep system, building your own sleep system of layers of insulation. And we've gone with the Greenlandic sleeping bag cover, a really lightweight piece of equipment but very effective at what it's doing to prevent and reduce the amount of potential water getting to the bag. Okay, there we go. Cheers.